Hey everyone, I'm super happy to have you here. If we haven't met before, my name is Sam Kaplan. I'm an online health and fitness coach. I'm the owner of Jade Athletics. I'm a natural bodybuilding competitor and I'm just super passionate about fitness in general. Funny enough, despite being a fitness professional, my background is classical music. So I have a bachelor's in an ADP in orchestral performance for the bass trombone. I originally wanted to be a orchestral bass trombonist, but anyways, here we are in the fitness world. So this is going to be the very first video in a new series that is going to follow my contest prep for this year. So 2023's contest prep, I'm doing 3 or 4 competitions coming up in the fall. I've already started my prep. I'm just about to enter into week 6 of the prep. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of, in this episode, we'll say, I'm going to outline kind of what my goals are for this contest prep, kind of outlining the trajectory. I'm going to talk about my coach. So I've hired a coach for myself this time around. It's going to be the first time since 2019 that I've had a coach for bodybuilding. The last couple competitions were self-coached for me. So I'll talk about that a little bit. But yeah, and by the way too, if you like the video, please give it a like. It's going to really help the channel. And if you have any questions about this video or in natural bodybuilding or my prep in general, please go ahead and leave a comment below. I'd love to kind of engage with you and answer your questions. So, here we are. It is Sunday, February the 5th. I started my competition prep on January 1st. So we're just about into week 6 already. So the overall trajectory of the contest prep, just to give you an idea, I started back in January at 210 pounds. My intention is to get somewhere probably between 175 and 180. So I'm aiming to lose about 30 to 35 pounds, which seems like quite a bit. I'm doing it over a pretty extended period. So the first competition that I'm going to be doing at the earliest is going to be in September. So that's about 8+ months before I do my first competition. So as far as the weight loss trajectory goes, I'm going to be losing on average about a pound a week. For the first month, I did lose an initial fairly large spike of body weight. So I started at 210 and my low for that month was about 201.6. So lost about 8.5 pounds in a single month. So that's about 2 pounds a week on average. However, that initial little extra bit of weight loss at the beginning oftentimes is a byproduct of just initially setting into like deficit calories, losing a lot of water retention, a lot of the bloat that comes with being in a surplus, especially for a long time. I've been in a surplus for about 2 years. So I lost a lot of body water, lost a lot of that bloat, less food in my digestive system overall. So that's where that initial bit of weight loss has come from. Now, here in February 5th, my weight loss has really started to steady out. Like it's slowed down pretty drastically. So now the goal is to lose about 0.5 pound to a pound of body weight about every week. On average, there's going to be ebbs and flows with that. It's not always going to go completely down, that's for sure. And I'm already seeing that a lot as I continue to check my metrics every single day, so I'm weighing myself every day. Right now, I'm kind of between 201 and 203, and it's just kind of fluctuating around that area. We'll see what the next low is. Maybe at some point this week I'll be below 201, so 200 something. That'd be cool. But yeah, by the time I'm in September, the goal is to be somewhere between 175 and 180. So I've got a good amount of time to get there. But at the end of the day, like the most important goal is not necessarily the number on the scale, but just looking like I am really in the best contest shape that I've ever been. So that kind of brings me to what my goals are for this contest prep in particular. So of course, I want to get in, like I just mentioned, the absolute best shape that I've ever been in a competition before. So this is going to be the fourth year of competing in my lifetime. And I would like to do the best I have ever done if possible. And I think it's definitely possible. I think I've built a good amount of muscle over the past couple of years, at least some muscle. Fingers crossed anyways. So I want to get to a point of looking the best I have ever looked. But a couple other things involved with that. I want to make sure even before that, so if there's a hierarchy of what's most important to me, I want to make sure that my relationships are thriving and like keeping that as number one, the most important thing to me. So my relationship with Rachel is going to be by far the most important thing. And then secondly is going to be with work. So I own a business. I have a lot of wonderful clients. So my priority is going to go to them and ensuring the success of my business and everyone that's involved with that before the bodybuilding. So this is actually a little bit different of how I've framed my approach over the past competitions that I've done. So in the past, I've pretty much placed bodybuilding at the top of the hierarchy of things that are important to me when I'm doing my competition preps in the past. And I put a ton of pressure on myself in doing so. And there's other elements of my life that like I would kind of isolate myself and be away from the people that care about me in the past and like really sacrifice everything social. And this time around, I don't want to do that. So a big part of my goal is to really make sure that despite aiming for the best physique that I have ever had before, that relationship, so my relationship with Rachel, that is top of the list. My work is thriving. So those things are above. They need to be doing very, very well. They need to be thriving. They need to be far more than just intact. And then bodybuilding comes after that. And the byproduct of the competition, so me getting into the best shape I've ever been in, that all comes into play. So if my relationship or relationships and my work and all of that is doing very well, it's all thriving, then my stress levels are going to be lower. I'm going to have a far more improved quality of life, and that should help me accomplish a far better physique than, let's say, I put bodybuilding at the top of the pedestal, and like I'm just super stressed about everything else, or other parts of my life start to crumble. Then all of a sudden, my physique isn't going to look as good either because, hey, I'm going to be a stressed mess, and just not in a good frame of mind, and putting like too much pressure on myself, I suppose. So the goal is to not have that happen. Again, relationship with Rachel, work that is above the bodybuilding, making sure that is those are always treated as the priority, and then bodybuilding comes after that. And at the end of the day, my bodybuilding should lead to a far better result. So when I'm competing in the fall, I'm going to be in the best shape again that I could possibly get into. And don't get me wrong, like I really, really do. That is a huge goal of mine, is to get to that point of being, just have a really, really fantastic product by that point. But again, it needs to be properly set in the hierarchy of things that are overall most important to me. So there you go. Now that brings me to my next point here. I'm working with Jeff Alberts. He's coaching me this time around through this whole prep, and it's been wonderful so far. So my last couple competitions have been self-coached, and I did okay. I did all right, but especially my last competition, I really struggled a lot not having someone to bounce feedback off. Like I kind of went, like, especially near the end of the prep, like I kind of was just like questioning myself all the time, and I felt like I was kind of going crazy a lot of the time, to be honest. I did pretty good. I'm not someone that shies away from pushing myself. In fact, I'm probably someone that needs someone to tell me like, hey, like you can put your foot off the gas a little bit. But anyways, so I'm working with Jeff Alberts, and so far it's been wonderful. He's helped me set up the trajectory of like just planning out the rate of progress over the course of these next 8 to 11 months, more or less, because I'm going to be competing within a 2 or 3 month window in the fall. But he's helped me set up the trajectory, and he's helped me set up everything with my nutrition, and like we've worked together on my training and really getting that optimized for myself and just working through it. He's already implemented some changes for me as well too. So for the first 4.5 weeks, I started with a certain calorie and macro parameters. And since then, we've already changed it once to proactively continue making progress. And so far, so good. Everything's going great. And I already feel an increased amount of confidence than I ever have in the past doing a competition. I did have someone coach me the first time I did a competition, but this time it's like correspondence is really great, and like everything is, all the advice, all of the kind of setup that we have in place for the prep, it makes perfect sense. We're making changes happen, and I just feel very confident this time, probably the most confident I've ever felt about just progressing through it, and knowing that like I'm gonna have someone to support me in that specific sense as we get closer and closer to the competition days and like actually doing the competitions themselves. One of the other reasons that I am really excited to be working with Jeff is because kind of one of the biggest philosophies that he works through with his athletes and also with himself is that idea of the hierarchy of things that are important to you that I was just talking about. That's like how he models his approach to natural bodybuilding too. So he talks so much about prioritizing your family and prioritizing your work before the bodybuilding, because those are, at the end of the day, like those should be the most important things in our lives. At least, I mean, that's subjective, of course. We all can decide what's most important to us, but it certainly is the most important to me, just like it is to him, that family and your relationships and or at least my work and like my clients, like they go above bodybuilding. So it should be treated that way as you progress through the prep and doing the competitions, but that should lead to a far better end result with the bodybuilding, because stress levels are going to be in place. You're going to be thriving with the other elements of your life. You're going to have people around you that care about you, and yeah, everything should be overall quality of life should be much better. So that's what he really talks about himself, and that's one of the reasons why I'm working with him, is because, I mean, hey, that's kind of the philosophy that I really want to embody as well too. So far it's going very, very well. Things are going great. So that kind of covers like the general approach of this prep and the trajectory. So just a little bit of a broad idea for you there. Over the coming episodes, I'll go through in more detail like how the nutrition is set up, some of the changes that we've already made. I'll talk a lot more about my training as well too, some of the new elements of my lifestyle, and just the more specific elements of my prep, as well as my progress as well. So it's only been about, and I mentioned this earlier, it's only been about this is the last day of week 5, so I'm just about to go into week 6. So it hasn't been that long, but there's already been some pretty significant changes, as there should be. So I'll be kind of sharing with you my progress as we go through. We still got a long ways to go. There's a lot of body fat to lose between now and September, whenever I do my first competition. And I haven't actually picked out all of my competitions yet. So that's something that's coming up soon. I'll just actually plan out which ones I'm going to do. I think I'm going to do at least 3, maybe 4. But yeah, I'm going to be sharing all of that with you over the coming episodes. What I'm going to do now is I've taken some training footage over the last week or so that I am going to plug up here, and I'm going to kind of commentate over it, talk a little bit more about my training in general. I just signed up for a new gym here in Kelowna. It's amazing, called Iron Nation Fitness, I believe, or Iron Nation Gym. Shoot, I can't remember if it's Iron Nation Fitness or Iron Nation Gym, but it is one of those two, and it is a fantastic, like, state-of-the-art gym. All this amazing new equipment, stuff that I've never tried before, feels so nice on the body, and like it just sits very well, like the way that it's all put together, the machines and the equipment and everything. It's a very clean gym, very, very high quality. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share some of the training footage, and I'm going to commentate over top of it. But anyways, before I dive in, yeah, I'm really excited about everything that's going to be happening over the course of this year as far as the contest prep goes. Forgot to mention too, I got engaged last weekend. So that's definitely the best thing that has happened over the course of this prep. So far, Rachel and I got engaged. We're beyond happy. So, I mean, like, everything is going great so far, that's for sure. But yeah, so from this point forward, I'm just going to share with you how we progress from here. I'm going to share some of my training footage right now. And so before I keep rambling on here, let's just go ahead and get straight to it. Here we go. All right, so we're going to start things off with the leg press here. This has been a staple in my training routine for at least the last 5 or 6 years, and is going to continue to be a staple throughout the entirety of my contest prep. At least that's how I have it planned. I'm not including, for my quads in particular, any type of free weight squat, so no low bar squats, no front squats. And part of the reason for that is those exercises, especially when deeper and deeper into a contest prep, they can be a little bit more injurious, especially at the lower body fat percentages when I start to get very fatigued and tired much later in the process. So I'm just proactively thinking ahead that I'm going to keep this for sure, because I mean, it's just a little bit safer, especially in those parts of a contest prep. So I'm going to keep this here. It suits my body very, very well. Like, it just does not cause any going against the grain, against my bones and joints. Like, my connective tissue feels good, and it feels very, very challenging, especially on the quads here. This is a new piece of equipment at this new gym. It's taken me a little while to find the perfect setup, so I think I found it as far as like where I should be adjusting the seat, that kind of thing. I'm able to bring my knees super, super low, get a really, really big, smooth range of motion. It's very challenging, and yeah, so definitely going to be keeping this guy in for at least, I think, the entirety of the competition prep. These are some close neutral grip pull downs, and it's not like I kind of have independent control over each of my arms there, as you can see over each of the cables. I'm doing, for my lats in particular and a lot of my back musculature, I'm not doing any pull-ups or chin-ups. I have been doing pull-ups and chin-ups very consistently, loaded, for the past couple of years, and I did do them at least intermittently through my last contest prep, but I'm not going to be doing them probably at all for this whole contest prep. I actually am kind of going into this with a little bit of a nagging injury on my right elbow, and any kind of a chin up or pull up variation aggravates it at least a little bit, but the pull downs feel really good. So I'm just training using these, and it's kind of been a blessing in disguise. Like, it's really forcing me to be mindful of my training technique, slow down my reps, move with a lot of poise. And I feel like that feeling of tension and metabolic stress, like the burning sensation, like I'm getting that so intensely in my lats and my back musculature with those pull downs. So I am absolutely loving them so far. I've been doing them for the last probably month and a half since I started developing that little bit of nagging elbow pain. The pain is perfectly manageable, by the way, but I want to be very, very conservative about it. Like, I don't want to start testing it by doing pull-ups and chin-ups, especially with being in a deficit for a long time. It takes the body longer to heal, so I'm just going to be really conservative and keep training using the pull downs, and they're really working too. Like, I really feel it, and it's not causing pain. So there you go. Anyways, here are some seated leg curls. Really love this machine. One of the reasons I like this new gym is because a lot of their very basic equipment, so like their leg curl machines, their leg press machines, all of the other machines, even the cables, like, it just feels very smooth. The resistance curve is very good. So this thing feels very smooth, and even in the last gym that I was training at, they had a seated leg curl machine, but it was one that would kind of aggravate something in the back of my knees. This one feels great. So it's some change in the resistance curve. So I'm going to keep doing that. Here's some bench press. I'm going to keep these in as long as I can. I suspect that at some point I'm going to have to change these, but we'll see. I might be able to keep doing them all the way through. So far, strength is great. Haven't lost any strength. Just really focusing on good technique with those. Here are some hack squats. Funny enough, this is the first time I have ever programmed for myself like a true hack squat machine. I've just never been in a gym that has had this exact kind of a hack squat machine before. I've had, like, what do they call it? Like a power squat machine. I've done like horizontal leg presses, which is kind of similar to this, but this is the first time I've ever been on a true hack squat machine. I'm loving it so far. It's suiting my body really well too. I'm moving with the largest range of motion possible. That's as low as the machine will go. It feels very non-injurious to me as well. Like, it feels good on the knees, feels good on the hips. Lower back is great. So I'm able to just really push my quads in particular with this. So I'm going to keep it for as long as I possibly can in this prep. If so, I'll keep it throughout the entirety of the prep. And that's the intention for most of these exercises, is just progress as much as I can with every single exercise, and only change them if I absolutely have to. I will at some point stop progressing, and it'll be more like just put my maintenance cap on, try not to lose reps, try not to decrease weight. That's just the byproduct that will come of being in a deficit, but there you go. Here's some Bulgarian split squats with a cool new setup. See the ankle elevation there. This is subject to change too, because in the past it has been injurious for me, but so far so good, so we're gonna keep it. But anyways, yeah, training's going really well. Love this new gym setup, that's for sure. The equipment, even the basic equipment, is so nice. The resistance curve is great. But anyways, this is going to conclude my video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments below. Like the video if you like it. Otherwise, I'm looking forward to sharing more about my prep in the weeks to come. See you later.